Hi folks, this is Karim Rauf from IT Visualizer channel. Today we'll begin our fifth video. We will begin configuring the group policy, okay, for the domain, and assigning it to the groups, okay, and then beginning to apply the background and the screensaver and a lot of things to be done. Okay, so let's begin. We'll open the video. Let's put it in full screen mode, and then play. We will open or power the virtual machine. Okay, and click on Windows Server. Pause the video and then until it boots up. Okay, now Control Alt Delete. Put the password. As I said, this registry keys will notification will display the default group policy because we will close the user access control notification. We will close it or disable it. Then here we are opening the map share between my laptop and the virtual machine. I am just taking the group policy. This is the templates I use for my group policy. So we'll begin apply it to our domain. Just copying it and putting it in my script folder. And paste. And then open the transformers console. And then we'll begin creating each group policy one by one and import it from the templates that I have, and import the setting from the templates I have. Here we'll open the group policy management and forest, and then group policy objects. Right click and create. First of all, we will go to the folder of the group policy templates, and then I will take every name. For example, I right click and take copy of this name and make a new group policy by this name. So for example, control paste, it's advanced users group policy. This is the policy for the advanced users. If you want to open USB and DVD and a lot of things, right click, a lot of things. This is for the advanced users mainly, and this is the other one for the classic shell. The classic shell, the software I use for changing the startup menu of the Windows server to be like the Windows 7. Okay, this I have a group policy for it, and I have already made one for the admins to open some items and or open all of the items of this classic shell to appear for me, and another group policy for the limited or classic shell limited for the other users in the domain to have limited access to some items in the classic shell. Okay, we will see it when we deploy it. Okay, and now we have default users group policies. This is for the default users or the limited users you want to close the USB or DVD-ROM, and it's the mapping policy. This is for mapping the shared drives. Okay, and this is the one for the WSOS for Windows update service. This mainly that pushes the server, WSOS server, to all of the clients, so it can direct to the server to get its update. Okay, now we will import the policies from the group policy folder one by one. Advanced, as I said, group policies is for the advanced users policy. You can open the DVD-ROM, the CD, everything you need for the advanced user. This is for them. or the policy is named by them. Advanced users, classic shell admin. This is for the classic shell. Mainly it opens every item in the classic shell menu to appear for me or for the admins. We will apply it to the OU admin in the Active Directory. The limited will be applied to all of the users, the normal users in the domain, not the admins, and this will limit access. It will not open all of the items in the classic shell. Some items will appear and some items will not. The default, this is the critical one. It will be applied to all of the domain, admins and users, and all of it, and all of the users, authenticated users. Okay, next. This mainly contains the background, the screensaver, the shared parameters or the shared setting between all of the users and computers. Okay, this is default user policy. As I said, this is for the limited user to close or to open USB DVD-ROM for them. And the mapping, this is the policy for mapping drive, network drives or department shares and user department shares mainly. And the WSOS, this is the policy that will push the IP of the Windows update services to the users or to the computers of the computers in the domain to direct it to get its update from the server. In other videos we will deploy or we will install the Windows update service on the second domain controller, and then we will update this policy to push the IP of the second domain controller to all of the clients or the computer clients. Now we are just linking every group policy to its OU. First of all, the advanced user is to the AI users, the classic policy admin for the admins, the classic shell limited for the AI users. Okay, mainly the advanced users and the default also for the AI users. Okay, mapping, it will be applied to all. WSOS also will be only applied to the computers. In the servers we will configure it manually. Okay, so let's revise it before I will pause the video for a moment. Now for the advanced users group policy, it will be applied to all of the users. Okay, AI users. Okay, take note that the IT or the admins is in a separate OU, so this group policy will not be applied to them. It will only apply to the users. Okay, advanced users group will be applied to AI users, and then the classic shell policy admin will be applied to admins. Okay, and then the classic shell policy limited will be applied to AI users. Okay, and then default group or default domain policy will be applied to all. It will be in the top level, and the mapping also will be applied to all. WSOS will be applied to computers, because in WSOS also we will configure that when it is applied, the updates will be downloaded and installed, and if the user didn't interact in 15 minutes, it will, or in in some time, it will restart automatically. In the servers we will do a different policy, so not we don't want him to download and install. We will tell him only to download and let us install, so he doesn't make a restart to the server automatically. This will make a disturbance or will not be it's not recommended in a production environment. The servers will have a separate group policy, or you can configure the local group policy to point to the WSOS server or the Windows Update server and tell it to and put some setting in it to only download and not install the updates. Okay, you do it manually. Okay, so we will have, as we see, how many group policies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have about 7 group policies. Everyone is linked to the respective OU. Okay, as I said. So now we can continue. Now we have already applied all of the group policies, so now we need to modify the default domain policy to change the background First of all, we will do some things. First of all, I don't need the advanced user group rules to be applied to all. I will specify a group. We have made a group in the Active Directory. It's named tr advanced users. This will be applied to this group in specific. Okay, so it is applied on the OU level, and then it will be more specified with the group. Here a little note: if you Microsoft had made some system updates to the group policy. Okay, so if you have a group that is limited to authenticated users, or you have changed it to, for example, you have removed the authenticated user as I did, and then put a specific group, you need to put the domain computers to give it a read access. Before that, normally you just apply the group policy you need to the OU that you need, and then with the group that you need, and that's it. But Microsoft did an update, I think 2017 or 2016, I don't remember the date in specific. So it applies, or it needs, or if you change the users not from the authenticated users to any group that you specify, you need to put a read permission to the main computers to make it effective. Because if you only put the group and link it to the respective OU, it will not be applied. You have to give the domain computers group a read permission. Before that, it was, as I said before Microsoft update to the group policy system, or the group policy system mechanics, it was normally just put the OU and then put the group, and then that's it. But another or additional step, if you did, as I said before, if it's not filtered to authenticated users to any other group except authenticated users, you have to go to the delegation and give domain computers read. And this will be done. I will do it for advanced users group and for default users group. I have two groups, one called tr advanced group and one called tr default users group, and this I will add domain computers to both of them. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, normally if it is authenticated user, you don't need to do anything. But if you remove authenticated user and add any other group, you have to give the domain computers in delegation tab to give it read. The default domain policy, it's authenticated user, don't need to change. This one I will remove, and I will put default users group. Okay, now we did it. Okay, we give the delegation to the domain computers. Normally when this happened, it made for my good luck that it was an update, and I before a good best practice, if you are implementing WSOS in your environment or Windows Update Service, make a small folder and name it, or a small OU and name it test, and put some computers on it to test the updates before implementing on a wide range. I did that in production, and for my good luck that I discovered before going this update on a wide range, the update of the group policy. But actually Microsoft didn't, we weren't announced with this something like this, or it wasn't clear for me that it was an update. But after searching on Google, I got it, and I take precaution now. But now normally it's now done. Every IT admin knows this change. Okay, and now, as I said before, there is in the previous lab we did I think I did it in the same lab, why we create an Active Directory central store location group policy. I think I did it in the previous lab. I said there is 4 advantages for doing that. central location, decrease the traffic between the sysvol folders between domain controllers. If you have more than one domain controller, it will decrease the traffic between replication between the both domain controllers. We can see it again. Sorry, because this video is previously recorded, so I'm just searching for the right article to get the advantages. Here you go. There is 4 group policy central store benefits. Ensure all admins using the same group policy template. If you have, as I said before, different Windows versions, have the same template from any computer, a centralized location, and you can update only to one location and reduce the sysvol replication between domain controllers. So now we will get back to our group policy. We have already applied the default group policy or imported the default group policy. We now change the setting. I need it to reflect the background for the transformers that I need. So I will change it now. I force a specific lock screen. As I said, we have a lock screen. It's in the share folder named backgrounds that we did in the previous 2 lab, or I think the second lab or the third lab. We have already shared the previous lab. We have shared already the backgrounds folder, and it contains the lock screen and the new backgrounds for transformer and also the lock screen. So we will copy. Here you go. It's the file or the GPG named background, not background, it's called lock. Okay, we'll just stay in the destination and tell him, okay, it's not lock.png, it's lock.jpg. Okay, and then apply. Okay, this is for the lock screen. We need to change the setting for the background. It's not here, it is in the user's configuration, policies, administrative templates. As we see here, it says administrative templates retrieved from the central store, the store that we did in the previous lab, in the third lab. Control panel and personalize. We will change we will change the screensaver. We also have a specific screensaver. It's in the backgrounds folder as well. Okay, and specific also theme, desktop theme also, it is in the background folder. So we will just change, it's not Marvel, we will change the destination to the server name. No, I think I will do it, yes. We will change it to the background name of the server / background / the screensaver file .scr. This is the extension of the screensaver, Windows screensaver. Okay, I didn't have any screensaver, so I am normally taking an old screensaver from the Marvel domain lab, and I will apply it, because actually I don't have a screensaver for transformers. I was working with a software that creates screensavers, but it is a trial and its trial time is ended. So I'm just to get the idea to you all. I took an old background and an old screensaver, and I will apply it. Okay, here we will take the destination and change it and apply on the server. Here we change the screensaver and the lock screen. The theme also, there is a theme, desktop theme. Also, it is in the backgrounds folder we shared before. It's called transform. Okay, copy. Define names transform.theme. This is the theme, the background, sorry, the desktop theme that will be applied. The colors, the colors of the Windows itself, the menus, something like this. Okay, and we will apply it and paste, and then we'll change the name. Okay, this is transform. This is the theme file. Okay, we'll change it. Okay, transformers.theme. Apply and okay. So now we have changed the screensaver, the lock screen, the theme. We need to change the background. It is in the display, I think. Desktop, yes, desktop. And then we will change the desktop wallpaper to reflect our transformers, and we'll make it as a stretch. It's background to JPG. We'll just change the destination or the location to be the name of the server / the share folder, which is backgrounds. Here I was mistaken. I make copy from the local uh, local location. It's not the local location. I need to have the share location. So this is not correct. Okay, this is the one, the correct one. Paste. Backgrounds. And then this is in stretch mode. Apply and OK. So now we have changed the background, the screensaver, the lock screen. All of this is changed. So we need to apply this setting. We'll make a restart. So we can see this setting in effect. Or we can make GPU update. Okay, there is a command that called GPU update /force, but we'll make a restart to see it from the beginning. We are simulating that a normal user is accessing the PC for the first time and he is logging normally. So now we had imported all of the group policy, all of the setting, changed the background, the screensaver, and everything. So we need to make a restart now. Okay, we'll make a restart. Just a moment, I need to pause the video. Okay, let's continue the video. So now we'll make a restart. Sorry, I want to make it a full screen. Make a restart so we can see the effects or to implement the group policy. It's applying the computer setting, and then it will begin applying the default domain policy, and the other group policy objects. It's taking a little bit of time because this is the first time to apply the policy. So now you will notice that when we log in for the first time, the notification for this is the welcome or the welcome screen. And if you log in for the first time, or if you log in with my user for the first time, sorry, after applying the group policy, you will see that the registry keys notification or the user access control will not appear. He will apply the registry keys without notifying you, okay, as you see, and the background is applied. Because in the group policy I have disabled the user access control. So now we have already applied the group policy. Here I will install the a new role which is the DHCP role. Okay, as we said before, in the scenario we will have two DHCP and there is a failover. Okay, which means that if one of the DHCP servers is down, the other will continue providing IPs to the clients. So we will close this one and we tell him manage. And by the way, in the group policy also I said, or I make a configuration that server manager doesn't appear on the startup or doesn't pop up with the startup of the Windows. Okay, it's in the default domain policy. Okay, add roles and features. Next, next, next. And by the way, this is the service notification that it is for the Wins service. It's not working. Okay, the DHCP, we will add the DHCP, add feature. Next, and then next, install. Just a minute. Sorry, I'll pause the video. Okay, sorry for the interruption. We will begin the video again. Okay, view and full screen. So we're installing the DHCP. We pause the video until it finishes. Finish, we will configure the DHCP. This step is just only authorizing the DHCP to work. He is using my username, creating security groups, and then authorizing the DHCP to work. So we have the service for the Wins. As I said before, when I restart the server, normally this service doesn't work as it is supposed to. I think if I left it for a couple of minutes, it will open or restart automatically, but just for speeding up the process, I'm starting it manually. So now the DHCP is there, and as I said before, we are working from one console. In the second other lab, we are working from one console, so we'll add the DHCP to the transformers console, so we don't have to open server manager, then tools, then DHCP. We will add it to our existing console DHCP. So we, as I said before, work from a central location DHCP. We now configure the range of IPs that our clients will take. Right click, not this one, right click on IP version 4 and tell him new scope. Next, we will name the scope. So at the start we will take a part of our range from 192.168.2.20, for example, to 200. This depends upon how many PCs you have in your domain, okay? But in also best practice to have a separate range for the servers and a separate range for the clients, and the server range it's done or it's applied or added manually. It's not through DHCP. This is done or put manually through the network adapter setting. Okay, there is no exclusion. I don't need any exclusion for the range. Configure. There is no default gateway, but we'll do it in a future lab. Just a minute, because my battery is getting low. Just a minute. So now we have already tell him the DNS, the previous step. Let's get back. As we said, default gateway, the DNS, it's our DNS and our wins. We have did it before, and we activate the scope. So now our scope is there. We'll make the default gateway when we install the pfSense and make it as a gateway and make it access the internet. Okay, just revising. Here is our servers and here is our computers. Okay, can we also enable the feature of allow and deny filter? This is mainly if you want the client will not take an IP if it's in the denied folder, and it will take IPs if it's in the allowed folder. This is done through the MAC address. You tell him the MAC address and the name, and then put it or apply it, and then the client will take the name. Oh, sorry, will take the IP. I'm sorry. Well, I'm just revising the setting, okay, for the user, just to make sure everything is correct. Okay, now the user, as we said, first name and last name, and address. So as I said before, there is in our users text file that we import or we have created from it when we did the creating from the first lab working with PowerShell. There is something called the division for every user, but this division will not appear from here. It have to be or it will appear from the setting after you activate the advanced feature setting. We set for a couple of seconds. Here you will see it, the attribute tab. Here is the division. Okay, this is if you need it. We will use it when we create the dynamic access control list, so we can specify that a specific user from a specific department, a specific title with a specific division will access a certain folder. Also access a PC from a specific location. Okay, so now I think I will begin creating the Active Directory live reports. This is a feature that I use to make reports. As we all know, if you're having an auditor or someone that's auditing your system, he needs to get an Excel sheet or a report with the users, their expire dates, or you need, for example, if you are an IT admin, you need a report to get the users their expire date, the creation of the account, the setting of it. We can do all this with a PowerShell script, but I will show you how to do it through the Excel, and also this will appear. You will not understand what I mean until we do it live. So we'll see. First of all, we need to install the Office 2016. I have already inserted the CD, and while I install the Excel, so we will only check the Excel and Word. This is mainly getting the data from, as we all know, that the Active Directory has a database. This database, it's Windows internal database. Okay, so what I am doing, that I am in the Excel, there is an option to connect to the Active Directory internal database. So through it, we can get all the data we need. We can get all of the users with all of the attributes we need. The password expired, the name, the office, the username, the creation date, the login fail date, how much time he logged in, failed login attempts. All of this will be done through Excel. And as we see here, it's okay, it's locked. Okay, and you can get the computers. All of this can be done through accessing the Active Directory internal database. So we'll see in a moment. This option is very useful because not every time, and this is live. For example, if you deleted a user and you open the Excel sheet and refresh the data, it will be updated on the spot. So here I'm getting, by the way, this is done through Excel through Power Query option, okay? And the Power Query option uses the language called the M language. We will see this in a moment. First of all, I will just get the Excel sheet that I am using. Okay, this is the one. I will demonstrate in a moment how this is done. I have done the scripts. For if you open the folder, there is 4 M language scripts that we will use to create the Excel sheet report. First of all, we open the Microsoft Excel. Just a moment. Okay, and we will resume the lab. Now we open the Excel. Okay, so review full screen. So mainly we open we will get the data tab and tell him from other sources, no, not from other sources, from the query, tell him a new query. Okay, and from other sources, and there is the Active Directory. Okay, mainly he is getting the data from the internal Active Directory database. Okay, he will ask you about the name of the domain. He gets it automatically. This is transformers.local. Okay, so he will use my current credentials, my username, which is krauf. This is the Active Directory credentials. In a moment you will see that he will get the table. This is the database table of the domain of the Active Directory. Contains all the data you need, the username, the accounts, all of this. We will load it. Tell him load the database. I mean the data from the database, to be specific. But actually we will repeat the process because I don't need all of the data to be appearing in Excel. We will tell him there is an option. I tell him to only make a connection to the database. I don't need to load the data in the Excel sheet. We will know why I am doing this later, but first we'll make a new query from other sources. Active Directory. Okay, the domain, this is the table. Okay, the Active Directory data table, and tell him load to, or load to, yes, load to, it's not load, and then we tell him only create connection. Okay, and add this data to data module. This takes a copy of the data to be local, so he doesn't have every time to get to the Active Directory database every time. It's like a cache. Okay, it's caching it. So now he's getting the data. He's just refreshing the data. He's getting all of the data. Okay, so now if you right click and edit, you will see there is a lot of tables. Every table contains the data for a specific attribute in the Active Directory. For example, there is a table. When you open the database, there is a table for users. This contains all of the users in the Active Directory. The groups, there is another table for the groups and the computers. So if you open any one of them, okay, just for a minute, I just need to pause this. Okay, now if you right click, or if you click on the table, it will get all of the users in the domain. This is the first. At your bottom right, this is something, this contains the name of the query and the applied steps. So here is how it is done. If you were working in Word or Excel, there is something called macro. Macro, it's recording your steps. For example, if you did a lot of steps, deleting some cells, deleting some words or something, and you need to repeat this process every time, there is something called macro. It records what all what you are doing, and it's in Visual Basic, or it is written in a Visual Basic or in Visual C, I don't remember, in a language, in a programming language, or in a language, so you can use it later. The same process applies here. When you do anything in the Power Query, it is done in steps. For example, the source means, for example, you see the applied steps, there is two things, source and navigate. Source, this is the step where it gets all of the data, and we are currently doing it. The category and objects, this is called source. Navigation, if you click on a table, this is the navigation. This is the second step, and all of this is done in M language. Okay, now this is all of the users. Okay, this is done and every step I do, it will be applied. For example, if I open another or rename a column or add the data, all of this will be in the applied steps, and this is done. It will be in the right bottom column, and this is written in M language. So I have already script, I have already done this before, and I have already the script or the steps written in M language. So I'll take it and copy it to the advanced editor. I open advanced editor to let me demonstrate it more. Just a minute. If you get back, okay, we will open this one. If you open, this is the steps. If you want to edit it manually, or you just want to see how it is done, I told before this is done through a script. It's something like PowerShell script, and if you, for example, you're installing the role of Active Directory, you see that you can do it through the GUI or the graphical interface, and Microsoft gives you an option to export the PowerShell script that have done this. Everything is done through the Active Directory through PowerShell commands, but Microsoft, if you are working with the graphical interface, the graphical interface does the commands for you instead of doing it manually. So here in the Power Query, we have the graphical interface, the same one as we see here in steps. This is done automatically, and he writes the commands or implement the steps with the M language script. It's written for you. So if you want to edit the script or the steps of it's done automatically. If you want to apply to edit the steps, you will open the advanced editor. Okay, I have already some script, M language script. I will apply it to this table. This is mainly the source, the Active Directory, and blah blah blah. So mainly I will not do anything. The first step is to make a connection to the database of Active Directory, and this is done already. This is the language say that the source is the Active Directory domain and transformers local, and it's selecting the user object or the user table. This is what it said in this script or this same language. Okay, I'm telling him just to, okay, I'll return to the first one, close and load. Okay, now we have done the connection to the data. We will make another query, okay, to begin extracting the data from this connection. Okay, we'll do it in a moment. Actually, all of this will be explained, or it will appear after. It will be more clear when we apply it. Okay, I tell him a blank query. We want a blank query. We can make it an Active Directory again, but this time we will change the setting. Okay, the transformers local. Okay, and then we will take the whole table again and tell him to load to. This time we will load it to the existing Excel sheet, not the newer. Okay, the existing Excel sheet. Okay, and tell him okay. So we will get all of the data. After that we will filter this data and begin apply. We will filter this data and get only the data we need through the M script, M language script. We will do this in a moment. Just I will pause the video just a moment. Okay, so we'll continue the video. Okay, view full screen. So now this is the data. We'll filter it. We don't need all of this data. I need only the users. Okay, this is the script. Okay, this is done. If you see it from a GUI, it's applied steps, as I said before, but here I am taking the PowerShell script as we see. We can name it like this. I will take it. This is the recorded steps, okay, but it is in M language. Okay, first of all I need to change the source because it's here named query Active Directory raw data. This is all of the steps that is recorded from a previous video that I did before. Here I will rename this one.
انت حطيت الفلوس في صندوق الزكاة؟
ايوه. Sorry for the interruption. We now continue the video. Okay, now we get the name. I will change the name of the connection to edit query. Close and rename it. Close and load. Okay, now we will apply the script. We'll copy and paste all of it. Copy. and open the advanced editor. We will delete this text or this script and paste. I'm done. If you take a glance or you take notice that after I click done, there is a lot of steps will appear in the applied step. Yes, in the applied step box. Okay, as you see, this is all of steps. All of them are renaming columns, adding columns, adding something. All of this is our steps. In the GUI appears in the applied steps, but in the advanced editor appears in the M language. As you see here, that the data begins to appear. There is a lot of data here. I have already chosen all of this, but first we will close and load to see the data in the Excel sheet. We will begin explaining each column one by one. What does it mean? It's just applying the M script and getting the data I need from the Active Directory internal database. It will take a little bit of time because it contains a lot of data. It's here retrieving the data. Okay, now as you see here we get the display name, the full name, which is the first name and the last name, account creation when this account is created. We'll get it step by step. Okay, here there is a column that says it is a normal account in the Active Directory. You see a column that says the user status, it's normal account or enabled password but not expired. This says that this account, for example, if you have a username that you have make the option of password never expire, it will appear in the user status column. You will see in a moment. What I am doing now that this is the status, it's in numbers. Okay, so I have Googled it and translate this number to words. So when you see this code, I make something in the Excel to put or to see the code and put the respective status from this table. We will see now what I mean. Just a minute. For example, user account status, it's not in words, it's in numbers. Okay, so every number means something. For example, 900 for example means normal account, 901 means account is with enable password never expire. So I have Google it, okay, and make a small table and put it in Excel sheet 2, okay, and tell the Excel if you find this code, put it, remove it, or remove the code and put the respective name. For example, it's 900, replace it and put it normal account. If it's 901, replace it and put it with enable password never expire. We will see that in a moment. Just a minute. Because I am taking it from a previous Excel sheet. You will see in a moment what I mean. We'll pause the video. So just a moment here. Here is the table. Okay, for example, decimal value 1 means script. For example, if you have 64, that means password can be changed. If you, for example, have maybe 900, that means a password lockout. If you have 16 in the user status account 16, that means that the account is logged out. So I have made like a script to change the number with property flag. For example, 64, then it will change it to lockout, and so it's meaningful because numbers will not mean anything to me. So I need the specific status, which means 16 means logout, then the account is logged out. If it's 64, that means the password can be changed. I'll just pause the video for a moment. Continue the video. As I'm saying that this table is a view full screen. So as we see now, every decimal value and hexadecimal means something. Okay, as we see here in the sheet 2, I will copy this table and put it in sheet 2. Paste. So every hexadecimal and every decimal means something in the user account status column. We will see here for a second. User account status. That means normal accounts mean that the account is normal and is active. The password is set to expire. For example, disabled password doesn't expire or not required. This means something in hexadecimal and in decimal. So I am telling him just if there is normal account, if the number is 900, just change it to normal account. Okay. So the hexadecimal or number doesn't mean anything. So I'm just putting the other table and telling in sheet 2 and telling Excel to change the hexadecimal or decimal to a human phrase or something we can understand. So now this table, as I said before, contains a lot of data. When the username, the first and last, password expire, date, since how many days he is logged in, okay, login fail times, how many times there is login failure, okay, the organization, every data you need. Okay, this is a very detailed and organized report. Or let's see an Excel sheet. Okay, we'll begin by this display name, the full name, the username, the description, account creation, last user login, login since how much days, password expire date, user account status, days remaining until it's expire. Okay, and the OU place or where this user is created in the Active Directory. For example, if you see my name, just a minute, we'll have an example now. Okay, if you see my name, we will see here Karim Raouf, the name and the username. Here I am created, the user is created 18/1/2020, the last login time it's 18/01 at 17:38. Login since 0 days, that means I'm logging right now, and the expire, it will expire at 18/4/2020 after 90 days. I have still 90 days left. If days passes, this number will decrease. And this is the location of my username in the Active Directory. As I said before, this is a live data. If you, for example, delete a user and then right click in the Excel sheet and tell him refresh, this data will be updated and the user will be removed from the Excel sheet. So this is a very useful Excel sheet. You can add columns, rename columns as you need, because Active Directory contains a lot of data, but this the data that I need or that satisfy my needs. Okay, for example, all of this dashed, that means that this user is not logged in yet, so it doesn't have a last login date. Okay, administrator. Okay, if we see here administrator is logged in. Okay, but this 1901, because I have to change the date it was in Canada, so it was 1 day. We'll change it to Cairo, it will change. Okay, we save it. This is the one for the users. I will make 2 Excel sheets also to get computers from the internal Active Directory database and the group members also from the internal Active Directory database. And this is done through 2 scripts in M language, as I said before. If you want to do it with the graphical GUI from the Power Query and then applying the steps one by one, but this will save time. I will just tell him again to get from the Active Directory, and then we'll type a script to get the computers from the Active Directory and get all of the data concerning the computer objects in the Active Directory, and another one to get the group members of the Active Directory. And this is also, as I said, it's live. If anything is deleted or added, it will be reflected in this table. Okay, I'll just change, because this is for an old domain. We'll just change it from Marvel to Transformers, and then save, and then copy the script, copy, and then make a new blank query and put it, and open the advanced editor and put the script in it. It will begin searching for the data or executing the script. We'll go to the Active Directory and begin getting the data. And as we see here, it's expand object. This is the steps. Okay, removed object. This is normally, it's the steps, the script done in steps. Okay. Okay, and now we'll put it in an existing workbook sheet and add this data to data module to cache it. Okay, this is first for the computers. You will see the computer name, the operating system. If, for example, added or joined the computer to the domain, he will get the computer system, operating system, if there is service pack, when it is created, and the location of the computer object in the Active Directory. This is also a useful report. And save the report. And then we will do the last Excel sheet report to get the users membership in different groups. This is also done through an M language script. The last one, I will change it from Marvel to Transformers. Excel sheet, new Excel sheet, data, new query, and from other sources a blank query, and then open the advanced editor to put the script. Okay. And then tell him done. So now we will see that we have a complete table, every user and its correspondent group. I'll tell him close and load to the Excel sheet. Table, existing Excel sheet, and add this data module to cache it. Retrieving the data. Okay. And then delete. Just reorganizing. Okay, here you see that, for example, Karim Rauf is in TRAI users, the group, and its username, the username and the Active Directory username, K Rauf. Okay, all of these users are in the TRAI users group. If you want to filter it, you can choose the group that you need. For example, if we want the enterprise admin, so we have administrator, the username, and the group of the TRIT, the one that we did in the previous lab. So this is the members. Okay, we will now save this report. So we have 3 reports, one for the users, one for the computers, and one for the group members, user group members. It can be for both. You can use this report to know how much groups you have in the Active Directory and the members of each group. So now we have 3 reports, live reports. We can just check it monthly, on a monthly basis, on a daily basis. It can be one of the steps that you do as an IT to check your users' reports updated and correctly every month, for example. So now the video is ended. The next lab we will begin creating the second domain controller. It will be also a file server share, server, yes. And until then, see you later.